Go right ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously the offense is going to be the story, the biggest takeaway from the day, scoring 100 points. Was this the type of performance that, you knew your team was capable of with the weapons that you have? It just maybe hasn't been there the first 5 games of the season?
Well, Bryant chooses to play a different style of defense. So on made field goals, they're in their matchup zone. And on missed shots, they go into more of like a switching man-to-man. And it can really take your pace away. It can make the players unsure of what to run. You almost start to like stand and the ball stop. And I think when you do that, it can really play into their hands. We watched them beat a very good Florida Atlantic team last week. And, I think some of that happened. Their defense, Florida Atlantic wasn't themselves in large part because of Bryant's scheme. And then when they have the ball, they have 5 out. So they really try to drive and shoot a number of threes. They play at a very fast pace. And that can also be problematic because your big guys have to guard on the perimeter. You have to be able to get back in transition. So it's a dangerous game in a lot of ways. I thought our team in the first half did an excellent job. I mean, the score was 49-25. You can make the argument that our defense was every bit as good as our offense. We played with really what I thought was good effort and concentration. Unfortunately, we didn't sustain it. And just, the final score in the second half, if you just judged us the second half alone, it was 51-50. So we went from a team that gave them 25 points in the first 20 minutes to 50 in the second 20 minutes. That's something we ran into against Washington, where if you judged us in the first half, I thought we were a more together, hard-playing, high-effort group. We weren't able to sustain that in the second half, and that cost us a victory. So we've talked about that, talked about this after the game. What we're looking to do is grow our good play. Instead of it being 20, can we get it to 24? Can we get it to 28? And some of it is just playing incredibly hard with a lot of passion and energy on that defensive end so that you have a chance to beat the best teams on your schedule. Quite frankly, we weren't able to do that today for 40 minutes. So a lot of good, 23 assists, 100 points, no doubt. But I think where we're trying to go, what we're trying to do, we also have a lot to grow from and learn from, especially in the second half.
Coach Davon the night, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. That coming off of the St. Mary's game, which was probably his best, the Musketeers. Does this just speak to the type of player he is to perform that way with what he's dealing with off the court?
Yes, I told our team afterwards and Davon as well, I don't even know if the word proud is the right term, and just, I guess, more admiration for him. That when you lose, his brother at 24 years of age, they were very close. And, almost he has to travel to Vegas and play 2 games, be away from his family, be with us, go through what we did there, losing a tough game, fighting back and beating St. Mary's, now traveling back with a second game, third game, and just watching him deal, with us. I just admire the unselfish person, teammate, the courage that he has, and yet also we're really trying to support him. I can't imagine what it feels like to be in his shoes. And he's going home this weekend, and again, we have to continue to support him, throughout, because it's unimaginable to deal with somebody that young in life, to lose him. Now, something way less important, his overall play. He's playing his best basketball in a Xavier uniform. Played a great game at Purdue. I thought against Washington he did the best that he could. But against St. Mary's and here today, his leadership, his floor game, his pace, his defense, I think he's emerging into the player that we really believe we have. And it's good to see him playing with confidence.
Watching him play the last 3 games, I don't think that anyone would have really guessed what he was going through off the court. Was this a situation where his mind was immediately made up that he wanted to keep playing, or how did that work?
Well, certainly it's his choice. If he wanted to step away and go home, certainly we would support him and understand. But sometimes you're dealing with tragedy and different things that happen in sports, which you really you learn like how important the camaraderie of a locker room, the camaraderie of being on a team, how it can really empower young people. And in this case, when something like this happens, almost like the last thing you want to do is give that up, because that's your therapy. That's basketball. It's a game you love. You know, your mind can go to a different place. Where I think we worry about Davon, and where we're trying to support him the most is when he's not in practice, when he's not with us, to make sure that he's okay. But this weekend he'll be home with his family, and we're eager for him to go home, and we're going to support him as best we can. But no doubt, a lot of admiration from his teammates, a lot of respect for him, and then obviously we want to support him in any way we can, just as he's dealing with both the loss of his brother and then trying to improve as a player on our team.
Nothing else really seems that important after that, but what do you talk to your team about after this game? Like, what's your message to them in the locker room?
My message was very straightforward. Thought we did a lot of good things. Again, when a team has 27 assists and 13 turnovers, you could take a lot of good from that, especially as I described Bryant's style of play. We didn't allow their mixing defenses and matchup zone affect our pace and ball movement, and that's a good sign for us. And I thought we had plenty of good defensive effort. It's just for me to act as if we did it for 40 minutes, I wouldn't be giving them the truth. And, that's the hardest part about being a coach, is you just really have to call it like you see it. And when you win by 25 points, you want everybody to feel good. The reality of it is there are a lot of things in the second half that are a concern. Fouling a three-point shooter, not coming out after halftime with the energy and effort that we need. Maybe a lack of a vocal leader out there to rally the troops, not just the coach. But we'll learn from it. We're going to be hard at it, and November is a month of a lot of growth, and we just have to keep growing and getting better.
Sean, you're starting to see a little bit more of your depth kind of come out, obviously, with Lazar being back on the team, having Trey and Dalen. Can you kind of talk about where you feel your bench players are kind of coming up and how much this is adjusting to your second unit, kind of continue to improve?
Well, we talked about Lazar's impact. He gives us size, depth inside. He gives us a scoring punch. Lazar can face the basket, and he's also very agile, catching the ball in transition. One of the things that I'm watching him, he's not catching the ball as cleanly as I think he will. Again, 3 weeks since his broken hand. He's in the safe zone. He's a long way from maybe that first day. But I do think that, the best is yet to come for him. But 10 points off the bench. I like our bench. I do think our basketball team this season is actually deeper than the one we had a year ago. That doesn't mean we're anywhere near as good. But we have to get more from our depth where, we again, if you're playing 9 players, one of the byproducts of that should be effort, where we can get high effort for 40 minutes. When that's not in place, then maybe we don't need to play 9 or maybe play certain guys less. We have to get our effort level in the second half up. And I think that'll be a real emphasis on Monday when we play Oakland. I would also like to thank our crowd for showing up 12 noon on a Friday. Awesome to see the crowd we had. I know they were quiet at times. I would be quiet too. We didn't give them enough to cheer about throughout the game. But look, the game on Monday is another dangerous team. Coach Campy's been at Oakland for over 40 years. Every year I feel like you turn the television on and they beat somebody in November, December. Great coach. Terrific program. They have some really good players, and they play a matchup zone as well. So, look, we have to be ready to go and be the best we can be on Monday. This is another game that's important on our schedule, and I would just encourage our crowd, without our students, or maybe our students will be back, just to show up, and if they can't, give their ticket digitally to somebody else like we did today. the environment at Cintas is just paramount to our success, and we felt the crowd. It's nice to be home. So thank you again.